Jared Wicks here with the Heel to the Face podcast, and it's WrestleMania season, the big event just a few days away. And when it comes to sports entertainment's biggest show of the year, everybody's a critic and everybody has something to say, especially about the booking and who's included on the matches. But me, I think there's a few other things that could be changed about WrestleMania, and in this video I count down the top 7 things that I think should change about WrestleMania. Number 7. If you've listened to WWE as of late, and this is a recent one, Michael Cole has reminded you that WrestleMania will be streaming live at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific on the WWE Network. Now, this isn't the first WrestleMania on the WWE Network. In fact, it's the 5th. And I think by now many people are well aware that the WWE Network is not your traditional cable channel. Now, with that being said, a lot of people will be watching WrestleMania on pay-per-view or the WWE Network, which is a traditional cable channel in some other countries outside the United States. With that being said, the word streaming only downgrades the product and it doesn't do anything for the product. People are well aware that the WWE Network is an internet-based service and not a traditional cable channel, and that streaming is the traditional way that the feed of WrestleMania comes across. If you were watching the Super Bowl or you were watching anything else, you would never tell anybody that it's streaming live. You would just say that it's live. And I feel that the word streaming kind of adds to the fact that this is an internet broadcast. And while internet broadcasts are not considered as highly quality, for example, this week in golf, the Masters is on television only for a few hours, but for most of the Masters tournament in golf, it'll be streaming live on themasters.com. Now, people obviously are much more old school, and they feel that if you have to watch something on the internet, it's not as high a quality of a product as watching it on traditional television. Hence, the NCAA Final Four, the Super Bowl, the World Series, those events are still available on traditional TV channels. They're not available on internet only. Yes, the internet is growing, and yes, someday we'll all be watching all our television through the World Wide Web. But as of right now, saying something is streaming versus just saying it's live is not needed. So just say WrestleMania is live, because for some people it won't be streaming. It'll actually still be on traditional pay-per-view. And with that being said, I go to number 6. Number 6 is something that has been said going on now 16 WrestleManias. Every year, WrestleMania, they remind us, it's at a special start time of 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific in the United States. Now, my problem with that is it's not a special start time. In fact, every WrestleMania has started at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific since WrestleMania 20. That's the last 16 WrestleManias have started at 7 o'clock. Now we look at football. Now Monday Night Football and all the other traditional times of football throughout the season are 1 o'clock for an afternoon game Eastern Time, 4 o'clock for an afternoon game Eastern Time, and 8:30 for a Sunday Night Football game on NBC. Now despite all that, the Super Bowl every single year starts at 6:30. But never is it mentioned that the Super Bowl starts at a special start time. Yes, it's a different start time than you're used to watching football throughout the year, but it's not a special start time to its event because the Super Bowl starts at about 6:30 every single year. So with that being said, WrestleMania is not at a special start time. It's at 7 o'clock because that's when WrestleMania is. Raw is at 8 o'clock and SmackDown's at 8 o'clock, but WrestleMania is at 7 o'clock. And yes, a lot of other pay-per-views throughout the year are at 8 o'clock, but that doesn't make this a special start time. WrestleMania is at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Now, if you change that to 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or push it back up to 8 o'clock, then you can return to saying it's a special start time. But WrestleMania has been at 7 o'clock Eastern Time for the last 16 years. It's no longer a special start time. Number 5, the Kickoff Show, aka the pre-show before WrestleMania. Are you on the card? Or are you off the card? That's the biggest question that I have. Now, there's so many matches that are named for WrestleMania, but there's never really matches that are named for the Kickoff Show. The matches are announced for WrestleMania the last couple of years, and when matches are cut for time, they are thrown on the Kickoff Show. So, are they not WrestleMania matches? Because last year for the Intercontinental Championship, I saw Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin in Orlando at the Citrus Bowl for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 33. Now, this was announced as a WrestleMania match. They had the traditional WrestleMania entrances. So, other than the fact that this was on the WWE Network and the USA Network, what makes this a Kickoff Show match versus being on WrestleMania? To me, preliminary matches should feel like preliminary matches if they're in the same arena or in the same stadium as the other traditional matches. then what's the difference? I think we need to get rid of kickoff show matches entirely or have them somewhere else. Because the fact of the matter is that if these are matches on the kickoff show, it's a part of WrestleMania. If the Super Bowl, if in the first quarter was only available on YouTube, and then quarters 2, 3, and 4 were available on traditional TV, would the first quarter have not been part of the Super Bowl? The kickoff show is 2 hours long each and every year before WrestleMania, and it's full of matches. In fact, most of those matches are actually seen in front of more people and in front of more eyes than actually WrestleMania. Because while WrestleMania is on the WWE Network, the kickoff show is often on the WWE Network and on traditional cable in the USA Network, meaning that people who want to watch wrestling will be seeing the kickoff show, and people who just happen to stumble upon wrestling on their traditional cable network will also find wrestling. So is being on the kickoff show actually better than being on WrestleMania? Should you get a bigger payday because you're in front of more eyes? You're being on free television instead of pay-per-view television? Let's just get rid of the kickoff show. It's great to have a kickoff show in the sense of getting you ready for the big event. But when it comes to putting big-time matches on the kickoff show, if they can't make it onto WrestleMania, the kickoff show shouldn't exist because, well, how is that not also just WrestleMania? Number 4, speaking of kickoff show and speaking of not having enough time for matches, I think it's time that we push WrestleMania up. Listen, I know a lot of people want to shrink WrestleMania, but the fact of the matter is it's a very long event, and it's not going to get shorter anytime soon. So with that being said, let's just start the thing at 6 o'clock Eastern, or maybe even 5 o'clock Eastern, and stop having this show end at midnight. But most importantly, let's throw some intermissions in there. Halftime at the Super Bowl is a big time not just for a musical performance to come out, but for people to go to the bathroom, people to buy concessions, people to just get a break of the action. And with WrestleMania almost 7 hours long, the fans need a break, and most importantly, it helps the WWE's bottom dollar. Because if there's a 30-minute break thrown into the mix, that's a good chance for you to go buy merchandise or concessions, which is more money for the WWE office. More money and happier fans would equal a better product. Now, I know at home an intermission seems kind of boring, but the fact of the matter is you have musical performances. That would be great. Throw in a musical performance for these intermission reports. Now, I know a lot of people say that they have musical performances or throwaway matches, but the problem is you don't often know if you're in attendance what those matches are. When somebody's music hits or Snoop Dogg starts with a new song, you don't know if he's just beginning an entrance to the next match or if he's performing a full song, no wrestling related. Put a clock on the screen, 30 minutes, intermission in the middle of the show. Let me go to the bathroom. Let me buy concessions. Let me give you my money so that I can go back and not miss any of the action. And if you're watching at home, 30 minutes is a great time for you to get caught up on what happened, go to the kitchen, get some pizza, and just get away from wrestling. Because again, the show's like 7 hours long. WrestleMania is this huge all-day thing. Give me 30 minutes to go refill my soda, please. Number 3, Roman numerals need to return. Well, WrestleMania 30 was the last WrestleMania that had Roman numerals, but since then, we haven't seen any Roman numerals, or more importantly, any numbers associated with WrestleMania. Now, you should be excited the fact that WrestleMania is on their 34th year, and you shouldn't try to hide that fact, and it seems that next year when WrestleMania is at MetLife Stadium, that fact's still going to continue to be hidden. Listen, I understand that you're just trying to promote WrestleMania as WrestleMania, but also don't forget the fact that you have a huge history. There's a reason why you added the numbers to previous year's WrestleManias, because you wanted people at home to know that even if you're a professional wrestling fan or not, that this is a big event. It's been around for a very long time, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So reminding fans that this is the 35th WrestleMania, and not just WrestleMania, is kind of a big deal. That's why the Super Bowl does it. I mean, it's to show fans how long that this event has been around, and it's to amplify the event because history helps. And when people have history behind them, they get more excited, they get more invested. So WrestleMania 35, bring back numbers. You don't even need Roman numerals. Just remind us what WrestleMania it is instead of just saying it's WrestleMania. We know that already. Number 2, bring back the Hall of Fame for Saturday night. Now, I understand the logistics of this. They moved the Hall of Fame ceremony to Friday night so they can set up the arenas for NXT, Raw, and SmackDown afterwards, aka they don't have to set up a ring for NXT on Friday, take it down for the Hall of Fame on Saturday, and then set it back up for Monday Night Raw and SmackDown in the same arena. So they have the Hall of Fame on Friday night so they can half set up the stage and then fully set it up for wrestling the rest of the weekend. But my problem with this is it's a little too much wrestling jammed up. I think NXT was great on Friday night. It was a great way to kick off the weekend, and then after that, nothing, just build up for WrestleMania. I think the night before WrestleMania is a great time to see all the wrestlers kind of step out of their roles because, again, WrestleMania is a really long day, and it's a really long, competitive wrestling show. So to have the night before be nothing about wrestling in the sense of actually going to see professional wrestling performed, but more or less talking about it, is a better solution than having the Hall of Fame on Friday night. I loved it on Saturday night because when you're about to watch so much wrestling and you've seen so much wrestling all year, it's great to step back, relax, dress up, and kind of prepare yourself for the next day. Bring the Hall of Fame ceremony back to Saturday night, and enough with this wrestling on Saturday night and then wrestling on Sunday night. Give us a little bit of a break in between so we can really be invested for Sunday's WrestleMania show. And my number one thing I would like to see changed about WrestleMania is bring back the platform. Now what I mean by this is if you've seen WrestleManias in dome stadiums early on, such as WrestleMania 3, WrestleMania 6, and WrestleMania 8 in Indianapolis, you'll notice that the ring is raised up on a platform. Now, since they've returned to dome stadiums, WrestleMania 17 on, they haven't done that. And it seems like WrestleManias are going to be in dome stadiums or stadiums in general for the foreseeable future. I don't ever see WrestleMania actually ever going back to an arena because there's just too many dollars involved in having it in a big stadium. Now, with that being said, it's time to raise up the ring. Now, what does raising up the ring do? It not just provides a better view for everyone in attendance, but most importantly, provides a better view for those who are sitting on the floor. Now, if I told you I had floor seats for WrestleMania, you'd probably think I have a very good seat. But the problem with a wrestling ring in the middle of a big football stadium is floor seats could mean that I'm in row 60. And being in row 60 and seeing something that is at the same level as myself might be very hard to see and might be very hard to enjoy. And floor seats aren't cheap. The same people who buy these floor seats are giving you, the WWE fan, the WWE management, maybe hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these seats. And you're providing them with an awful view of the show. Now, I understand that there's not going to be a great view for everybody at all these shows. But a simple thing like raising up the ring would go a long way in helping people all over a dome stadium enjoy the show much better and get a better view. In fact, it's not a coincidence that if you see a musical performance or you go to a concert, they perform on a stage. There's a reason why they don't perform on field level or on the concourse. They perform on a stage so that they can elevate the talent, so they can showcase what you're there to see, so everybody can get the best view possible. If you want to see this firsthand in sports, look no further than the Final Four. Each year, the NCAA Men's Final Four is now held in a domed stadium. And in order to get everybody the best seat possible, the courts are raised up off the grounds. Often you would see people on the bench 3 or 4 feet below the court level so that the court is showcased, is spotlighted, and is a better view for all to see. So that if you're sitting on the floor, most importantly, far away on the floor, you get a much better view of the show. And even if you're sitting in rows 3 or 4, having the ring raised up gives everybody just a better view. This is WrestleMania. There's a reason why you have a big stage for the wrestlers to come down during their entrances. It's so that everybody can see and be in awe of the entrances of the professional wrestlers. So why not let us do that when they're actually in the ring itself? They obviously knew better to do it at WrestleMania 3 in Detroit, WrestleMania 6 in Toronto, and WrestleMania 8 in Indianapolis. So why not return to that? You knew then that being in a dome stadium and sitting on the floor would provide not a great vantage point if the ring was on the floor, so you raised it up. So if you knew then, why do you not know now? And that's my list for the top 7 things that I could think of that I think I would like to see changed about WrestleMania. If you know anything that you would like to see changed, leave a comment on this video or tweet us at Heel to the Face. Don't forget to follow our program at Heel to the Face. You can find all the information on our Twitter account at Heel to the Face. For myself, Jared Wicks, this has been the Heel to the Face podcast. Top 7 things I would like to see changed about WrestleMania.